Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. How's everybody doing? Thank you, and thank you. It is 7:47 in the evening. It is January 5th of the year 2025. The year 2025. 7:47. Now, the topic of today is Mexico will receive non-Mexican deported migrants into their country. Why they are doing this? And this is and I will let you know why in a few minutes. There is a comment right here. There's a comment that I wish that these people are extremely amazing. Let me put it on the screen before I get into the topic. I'm not going to get into it with people today because I'm going to try to explain. Oh my god, the volume, man, the volume. I'm going to try to explain the most aggravated thing about this, but look at this comment. Look at this fake profile. Patriot RB for life says, I have to ask you, Oscar, why do you do this? I'm a journalist. I document migration. I've been doing this for more than almost 8 years. I documented the migration in the whole continent and parts of Europe. I crossed the Darien Gap 4 times. I'm the only journalist with Ben Berquam that we have ever crossed the Darien Gap 4 times, and the only Latino who's ever done it. I work for different networks. My network is Real America's Voice News. I work for an American network, but I work for different and I collaborate with different networks. You're asking me who's paying you to run these caravans? I don't. I go over there and I document and I walk with the caravans. I'm not. I don't create these caravans. And how much do you make doing these caravans? God bless your dear heart, man. God bless these people. These people are trying to come in here and try to, do some stupid and incompetent comments. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I would like to address right now this. Ann Jensinski says, "Hello, Oscar, watching from Alberta, Canada. Apparently, breaking news for everybody that is watching. Apparently, the Prime Minister Trudeau it is going to basically stop being the Prime Minister, and he's going to it's just going to quit. He's just basically saying, I'm done. So that is what, it's exactly what is happening right now in Canada. Some another comment, it says, yes, I wondered the same thing. Who do you get? How do you get paid? I was wondering the same thing. Well, I do this. I work independent. I work independent reporting, independent journalism, like a lot of people do. And through the contributions of people and also collaborations with international networks, that's how we work. So God bless you for all your triggering questions and trying to find out and trying to, instigate the live feed. God bless you. Let's get right into the topic. So, remind you to buy me a coffee. Absolutely. God bless you. Oh, thank you so much for joining in. Buy me a coffee. It is right there. Thank you so much, Linda. Buy me a coffee. It is right there. Pin in the chat. If you guys like to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund, buy me a coffee. It is right there. Lob the poncho, Oscar. Yes, I'm gonna start wearing these, man. It's gonna be my signature dress signature dress code. But let's get right into the topic. So this came out, and I want to add this to the live feed as I'm going to, answer the questions of the people. And I'm not live in Facebook, by the way. Uh, I'm not live in Facebook, by the way. So I'm not live in Facebook for the number one reason. The platform it's gone. The platform is gone. It's so censored. But this is what Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president of Mexico, and somebody saying actually it was an honest question. Actually, I just gave you an honest answer, and that was a really incompetent question. Possibly you're just new to just watching me. So Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president, just put out a statement saying the Mexican government it is willing the possibility to receive non-Mexican deportees of the mass migration. They're willing to receive. Now, where am I going with this? Watch out, America. Watch out. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, she's a socialist. She is trying to implement the socialist capitalism like AOC, like Alexandria Ocasio, like Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, all these people. They believe in social capitalism, right? Watch out for this. You cannot trust the corrupt Mexican government. And I'm Mexican and I live over here. And I'm telling you this. Why? Because Mexico, it is part of the global compact of migration. And it is not getting out of it. They are not going to get out of it. They're not going to get out of this compact of migration. On this statement that she's saying, and I will tell you why this is so dangerous, why she is saying that we are willing to receive non-Mexican migrants of this mass deportation, why it is so dangerous. But let me just give you her statements that she said on the morning conference. She said, we're not in favor of these mass deportations, but we are willing to receive our Mexicans and Mexican women that they are going to return to our country from the United States. Also, at the measure as quick as possible, the migrants that they are not from Mexico, we are more than willing to say to the United States, try to return them to their country of origin. There's a lot of time to have a dialogue with the United States if these mass deportations are trying to occur. But we're willing to take all of these people. Why am I saying watch out? And let me tell you why am I saying this. She's part of the Agenda 2030. She already said that she loves the Agenda 2030 and she's willing to follow every single globalist ideology of the Agenda 2030. Why is this a problem? You have a mass. Let me just tell you my plan and my specific, how do I look at this? So you have the mass deportation for 4 years, right? Let's just say you mass deport to Mexico. She's willing to receive non-Mexicans, and that means all other migrants from all across the globe. Guess who it is going to come to Mexico and suck at the teeth of this crisis? And guess who it is going to come to Mexico and implement their international mobility centers and their crisis ideology in our country? Guess which organization it is going to come over here to plan and to take over basically the sovereign nation and the sovereign borders of this country, to basically implement their ideology of open borders and to construct an idea of what can happen if the next 4 years, I'm talking about 2028, if in 2028 another Republican does not get installed in the government of the United States of America, and if a Democrat wins that election, watch out. Because all of this, it is going to be programmed. And all of those 4 years, these mass deportation, they're going to be warehoused or they're going to be installed in the country of Mexico. And in the next 4 years that are going to happen, if another Republican does not win the election for presidency, and if a Democrat wins, you're going to have the double of the mass migration that you saw under Biden. I'm calling it right now. It is 7:56 West Coast time on a Sunday, January 5th of the year 2025. If a Democrat wins the election on 2028 for presidency, I'm telling you right now, if a Democrat wins the election again, 2028 of presidency, whatever it is, if they win again, there's going to be a double as an influx of illegal migration into your country because everything, it is going to be compact into Mexico and Central America. And when the doors are open, there's not going to be no need for a mass migration of people through other countries of the world because it's already going to be installed in Mexico. This is the number one reason why she is saying we are willing to receive all of these, because she knows that she's going to be receiving all support from George Soros, from Alex Soros, from the UN, the OIM, the UNHCR, Antonio Gutierrez, the diplomat for the diplomat speaker of the United Nations, and all of the other countries that they are part of this global migration, open border compact on migration, the global compact of the environment, and all of these compacts that I told you yesterday. It is planning this. She's going to say, yes, we support we're going to, whatever you say, Trump. Whatever you say. Yeah, whatever you say, we're going to support you. Yeah, mass deportation. Okay, I'll receive them over here. I'll take care of them. Don't worry about it. We'll wait for the next 4 years and see how we can hijack the election, or how can we win the next election. And if the next election of the year 2028, by design, it is taken over by Democrats, watch out. Because all of this mass migration, it is going to be in a capsule over here in Mexico, and there's no way, impossibility, that nobody's going to try to stop this. It's going to be amazing. And I'm saying amazing in a way that it's going to be unbelievable, incredible. The way of this mass migration that is going to come to the north. It is going to be as double as it was under Biden. This is actually by design. Yes, I will intake everything that you're going to deport. I will intake everything that you're going to deport. I will intake all of that. Don't worry about it. I will take everything. Come on. Throw it at me. But when you throw it at me, I'm not going to tell these people that you can go. There's going to be social programs like the Democrats were doing. And she's going to need help. Of course she's going to need help. Who's going to help her? The UN. And we already have the UN over here. We already have the UNHCR. We already have all of these organizations. They're already installed in our country. There's no way that we can remove them, because the global compact, we're not going to get out of it. We have been having this socialist president since Andrés Manuel López Obrador and then Claudia Sheinbaum. So the only way to control her is under this threat of a tariff. And also, I have said to you, the United States and the next administration, that is the Trump administration, has the biggest possibility in history to control the cartels and to also expose the political parties in Mexico who are been corruptibly supported and financed by the cartels. Why I say this? Because they have in their possession right now, they have El Mayo Zambada, that is the kingpin of drug lords. He's detained in the United States. And also you have El Chapo Guzman. If you want the level of information on how these political parties are getting supported, financed, you have your two keystones and the two heads of the whole distribution of the country of fentanyl and synthetic drugs. That's about it. You have every single possibility to get every glimpse of information on how this political party of Morena can get dethroned. The Trump administration there has never been in history of the United States of America this power of decision, of this power of decision to basically control the cartels. This power of decision. So, she's willing to intake on the cost of what? On the cost of Mexico possibly going to be converted and to the next globalist neighbor. She's all for all this climate change. She's all for all of these, globalist agenda. She's for all of that. Don't get misleaded. She is all for all of these globalist agendas. She just implemented, and she's trying to implement in her morning conferences. Do you know what she's trying to do? One of the things of the Karl Marx and Engels book, if you read it closely, communication, it is extremely, one of the things that is extremely, delicate for them, because if you control communication, you will control the factors of freedom. And she said, I am going to have a section in my morning conference to expose all of these networks that they are disinforming our country. Basically, the ones that they are not agreeing with her. So if you don't agree with her, your face is going to be shown on the morning conference. And they're going to tell you, you know what, this guy is disinforming. All the language barrier, inclusive language. This guy is a white supremacist. He's an imperialist. He's creating hysteria. He's fear monger. He is a conspiracy theorist. He's a white la 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 la. All of that every American that is being accused, she is going to use it on every morning conference to expose all these outlets of disinformation for her to be right. For her to be always right. And all of these outlets of information, they're going to be persecuted by the left inside of the United States of America and inside of Mexico. That's how you censor. Now, let me just tell you this. She's willing to intake all of the mass migration. You already have a mass migration happening under her. She's letting all this happen because Donald Trump is not president yet. So a lot of people are saying, why is she still letting caravans? Donald Trump is not president yet, people. And if Donald Trump is not president yet, she's still under the Democratic agenda. The Democratic agenda, it is, you got to be kidding me. The slap in the face for all of you people, it was just Joe Biden giving a medal to Alex Soros. That was the most disgusting than Hillary Clinton. But other than that, Donald Trump is not president yet. So Claudia Sheinbaum still under the open border policies, right? Since she became president, 9 caravans have left the south border of Mexico. What makes you understand that when Donald Trump becomes president on January 20th, this is going to stop? And it's inevitable. Yes, it is going to stop. Why? Because CBP One app, it is going to be eliminated. And then after CBP One app, it is going to be eliminated. There's going to be a mass deportation to the north borders of Mexico. It is going to collapse the north borders because you're going to have the deportations have to be strategic. You cannot massively deport to the north borders. It is going to be an enormous business for the cartels. You're basically incentivizing the cartels to continue to smuggle to non-ports of entry. That is going to continue. So you have to deport to the center parts of the country and to places that they are far away from the borders, first and foremost. But if the Trump administration starts relying on deporting to the north borders, that they're easily connected to the United States borders, it's going to be a big mistake. You're going to have, a non-circle of a vicious circle coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. Now, if she's willing to intake all of the mass deportations, that it's going to be hundreds of thousands of people. Why she's willing to intake all of these people and how she's going to sustain it out of the Mexican economy, I don't think so. We're not doing well. We're number 10 right now in the continent. Of Latin American countries, right now, the 3 richest countries, it is Chile, Uruguay, and Panama. Chile, Uruguay, and Panama. Those are the 3 richest countries in Latin America right now with the best economy. Mexico is around 9, 8, or 10. We're not that good in economy, and we're not going to get better if this is another influx that is going to happen. And I don't know how she's willing to take care of it, financially speaking. How is she's willing? You need the United Nations, and she's going to let all these globalist organizations into our country. That's the only way that she's going to be able to sustain it. And if she's able to sustain it, she's going to give humanitarian visas to all of these people. That I don't have no problem with it. Migration. If you want migration to Mexico, it's okay. But the plan in the long term, it is that if in 2028, if the election does not go Republican, you're going to have a bottleneck of people that they're going to be like, hey, you know what? I've been waiting here for 4 years to wait for this opportunity to basically, again, to give us an opportunity to cross to the United States. I've been waiting here 4 years. It's now or never. And then you're going to have this massive influx again, doubled it as it was before. The Darien that is going to be floating again with people, massive caravans. All of this, it is lined up to the 2030 agenda. This is why 2024 was critical for elections of the United States. But 2028, it is actually the election, the most important election of survival of the United States. It is the survival election of the United States. It's not 2024. It's 2024 needed to happen. But 2028, it is just for America to survive. There's no other way. Now, let's see how Mexico is going to intake all of this. Really, it's a lot. I really do not know. I really do not know how they're going to be able to take it. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Oscar Blue right here. It is January 5th, 8:09 in the evening, 8:09 in the evening over here on the year 2025. I will see your comments and questions. We are going in 23 minutes going in. There was a comment right here that actually was telling me, let me just go right here all the way to the top. There was a comment that I saw that I really wanted to respond, but I couldn't. I was in a roll, so I couldn't respond to this comment, and it was from X. It was coming from X. So this is the comment. It says, Oscar, Democrats are not going to win for a very, very long time. And then it says, Richard, you're saying hopefully for the next 50 years. You're extremely overconfident. God bless your dear heart, Richard. But I am going to tell you, we cannot rely on being overconfident. Remember that we thought that it was going to be a landslide on 2020. And it was a landslide later on between the 2020 elections that Republicans were going to be landslide. We cannot rely on that. We really need to be working from the mouth out and doing boots work. We cannot rely on thinking that that this is massively never going to change. This is globally, man. This is a massive wave of globalists that they're trying to hijack the United States of America, and that the enemy is already by within. You guys are getting. I asked this question the other day. Do you feel that the United States of America, it is being attacked by within? And a lot of people are saying, yes, we are. The enemy is already by within. It's just the way it is. And you cannot be this overconfident. If you have this overconfidence, you're not being precautious of what is actually happening outside. You cannot be this overconfident. You have to be precautious. You got to have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan F, plan G, plan Z. You cannot be this overconfident. You're already been infiltrated. And for this infiltration to basically get it out of the root, you need to clean every single individual that has committed treason to the United States of America. It is planned. If the Mexican president is willing to intake all the mass deportation, it is what are you going to do in the next 4 years if you don't win on 2028? The global compact on migration, it is going to come again. The Democrats are going to the Democrats have completely changed their political stature, man. They're not the Democrats that they were in the 50s and the 60s and in the 70s. They're not. You have to understand that. Now, the Democrats are globalists. They are managed by George Soros and the elite globalists. They're not for God. They're not Christians. It's everybody needs to wake up on that, man. It's not coming back. It's never going to come back. For the Democratic Party to come back to that, man, my God, you need to be reborn again. They've been highly hijacked and infiltrated. And they're not. I just saw a video of Rashida Tlaib being questioned in the House, outside in the offices, by a Fox News reporter. There was a report on her state and her state of protest that they were chanting "Death to America." I confronted Rashida Tlaib in Tijuana, and I asked her, "What the hell are you doing in Tijuana?" And she came over here just to scream at the wall and said that the wall was full of hate and the wall was bringing her political trash into a foreign country, using our country to basically create hatred against a political party and then go home. And I asked her a couple of times. I had a bunch of progressive liberals in front of me, and one of them was pushing me. I said, "Don't push me. You're in Mexico." And I asked her a couple of times, "What do you think about the unaccompanied children, the trafficked children?" She was not responding. She was telling me this. And I'm like, "What the hell are you doing over here?" These kind of traitors by within, you have them. The Fox News reporter was asking her, "What do you think about these chants of death to America?" She's like, "Oh, that's Islamophobic." How in the hell that became Islamophobic? If you are basically chanting death to America in America, and you're defending that, and you're in Congress, it's how infiltrated are you? It's massive. And now that this is strategically going to be done, this is why Tom Homan has said the deportations have to be perfectly done. Perfectly done. Deportations have to be perfectly done without violating no international humanitarian right, because you're going to have the ACLUs, all these fake humanitarians and fake lawyers that they're making a buck, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars out of this humanitarian crisis. I was in an interview with Grant Stinchfield, with the great Grant Stinchfield. And he asked me, why do you call them, first of all, why do you call them fake humanitarians and fake lawyers? Because they have lived out of federal grants and also out of the American taxpayer, and also out of humanitarian crisis. These fake lawyers and fake humanitarians, you take away you remove the United Nations, you remove OIM, you remove the UNHCR out of all of these countries. What are they going to live out of? They don't have a crisis to live out of. And if the country creates a solution for this crisis, what are they going to live out of if you don't have a crisis, if you don't have division, if you don't have a humanitarian crisis? What are they going to live out of? And now they're living out of class action lawsuits that they're going to put onto the government of Trump, because they're violating their rights of transit to these people of getting massively deported. Now you're going to live out of massively suing the government That's the only way. Because now you're going to get out of the compact on migration. You're not going to have, federal grants and bonuses and worldwide donations. And that's it. Let me just go to a comment right here. Salty Sea. How's everybody doing? Give it a like to the video. Share the video. Buy me a coffee is right there for people that want to donate and contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund. We want to travel soon, but, we need your help. I'm not trying to be racist, but it is what it is, Oscar. Oscar, you covered the Haitians a few years ago, and they were so violent. Well, they were in Mexico. They were fighting amongst themselves. Pretty scary. Yes, I was there. No, that's not being racist. That's being factual, by the way. They were extremely aggressive. And this is what I have said multiple times before. The current administration of the Trump administration, it is going to do a mass deportation, but they know what they are up against. Everything that has come in through that border, there's a lot of military age males. And we have covered that like no other network in Central and South America, where the epicenter of the danger is, and in the Darien Gap. We have seen former Afghan pilots for the military age males from Africa, coming from villages in Congo, Nigeria, Cameroon, Burkina Faso, all of these places, extremely agitated and difficult places, former gang-related individuals in Haiti, people that there are military age males in Haiti, provocateurs, violent provocateurs from Colombia and Ecuador, Tren de Aragua gang that we reported on that in 2021, former military officials from Venezuela that they actually know how to operate. All kinds of people we have seen. And if you're going to do a mass deportation, get to understand that these individuals, they know how to move. And they know that it's going to be difficult for you to just come over here and say, you're going to be returned back home. And they're not going to be peaceful. If you've seen them, some of them, how they were so aggressive in caravans and how they were so aggressive walking on caravans, you're going to see how this massive problem it is going to be inside of the United States of America. If a massive protest starts, it's not going to be nice. And it is not going to be easy. I'm just saying. It's not being racist. It's being real. I have walked with people from Africa. And, they were nice people. But when it comes to question them or ask them questions, they're extremely aggressive. And when you want to approach them and do like some kind of a question we are covering it, they're extremely aggressive. If you're recording, they're extremely aggressive. If you're trying to find out what are they up to, and they're extremely aggressive. It's always this aggressiveness with them. And, some of them, they have come to me and they said, Oscar, I want you to, in the middle of the Darien Gap, and I have encountered this. They have told me, Oscar, can you, the migrants from Africa, they have come to me and said, Oscar, were you willing to ask questions over here to these people? And I said, I don't want to. And they say, why? Why not, man? Is because we're African? I said, no, you guys are aggressive, man. I have come to you guys in the most peaceful, sometimes ways. And you guys do not want to answer no questions. You guys are extremely aggressive. As a matter of fact, so many times I have done interviews to them, and then later on asking them, do you want to be on camera? This is a report. In the middle of the Darien Gap, we have done that. And then later on, they have sent me messages saying, if you don't take down the video, I am going to sue you. And I'm like, how in the hell are you going to do that? You don't know how much this video has cost me. It's because of you that there was a riot in my village, and you're going to pay for that. and my family's suffering threats and consequences, and you're going to pay for it. I'm like, get the hell out of here. It's amazing how they flip the script to, to try to get money out of this situation. It's sad to say there's different types of different types of entities that you can approach and you cannot. And by our experience, people that they're extremely difficult to interview is people from Africa. They're extremely difficult to interview. You approach them nicely, they're nice, but if the question it is not well asked, you're gonna be, it is gonna be aggression all the time. Oscar, I have seen when your life has been in danger. I remember the journalists who were being assassinated. Thanks so much for that. Blue, there will be mass deportation, and Americans are expecting the migrants not to go peaceful. We are prepared. How you are prepared? How? Just tell me how. The NGLs need to be persecuted and investigated. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Give it a like to the video and share the video. We have more than 400 people on YouTube, but we have almost 1,059. So we got more than almost 600 people on X. Let's go to Starlight. Merecidos se creen con derechos cuando violan todo por enfrente de ellos. Es más bien, let me answer this question in Spanish. No se trata de violentarnos entre nosotros mismos. Se trata de que nosotros también tenemos un trabajo que hacer. Y hay muchos migrantes que no son muy agresivos, ¿no? Entonces uno entiende y se aleja. Y después uno lo atacan y uno se aleja. Dice, no, sabes que vengo a hacer mi trabajo. Si no les gusta mi trabajo, está bien. O sea, no hay por qué agredirnos, pero hay muchos que sí son muy, muy agresivos, ¿no? Y nos ha tocado mucho eso con la parte de africanos. Son muy agresivos. ICE won't be intimidated. I understand, trying to be a tough guy and all that. You need to understand what you're up against. You cannot say we're not going to be intimidated. I understand you're not going to be intimidated. I understand that, but you need to know what you are up against. You cannot be saying this is a globalist agenda. This is a massive wave that has already been infiltrated inside of your country. You cannot be saying, this is going to be so easy and we're not going to be intimidated. I know you're not, but you need to know what you are up against. And it's just, it's dark. It is evil. We have seen it with our own eyes. We have been in the middle of the Darien, struggling to get out alive. The 4 times we have been struggling to get out of there alive. It is not a lie. So, it's basically globalists trying to hijack and take over your country. Let me just this is actually what has been happening. So the Mexican president is willing to intake all the mass deportation that is going to be actually happening after January 20th. We are 15 days away from that. 15 days away from that. And, massive security, I think that is going to be. There's a bunch of friends that are going to go to the inauguration of the president of, Donald Trump, that is going to go to the inauguration. And let's see how that happens. What is going to happen on January 20th and 21st? I would like to see those executive orders. Which ones are going to be executed immediately? And if they're mass deportation, it is going to be executed immediately. And also the elimination of CBP-1. I just want to know what is going to happen to all these people over here, man. How they're going to try to rush or trying to do. You need to deploy the National Guard. This is a national security issue. It's a national security issue. It's not to be labeled as non-national security issue. It is a national security issue. We have said this. I remember, in the middle of the Darien Gap, we were at station at a place that is called Caña Blanca, where the center front, the best border officials in the world, they're stationed in the middle of the jungle, right? And Ben was asleep, and I was like, there was people coming down the mountain of death, and it was 9 o'clock at night, and we were tired, we were exhausted. But I told Ben, I'm gonna stay awake for a couple of hours and just see what's going on. And I was in my hammock, and I was pointing my hammock to the mountain. This is how serious this is, just for everybody to understand. We did this video, and I was in the hammock, and I was, swerving from one side to another. And immediately, one official, one of these center front, came and tapped me on the back and said, "Are you up?" And I said, "Yes. You need to come and see this." Like, what's going on? Get your shoes on. So I got my shoes on, went down there, walked across the river, and there was where the center front officials, they do their intake in the middle of the jungle. And it was around 30 to 40 men around 12 o'clock at night. 20 to 30 men, all from the Middle East, smuggled by the cartel of Colombia, trying to bypass the middle parts and the inspection point of the border agents in the middle of the jungle. It was on that point that we realized. I started running, crossed the river, went up again, woke up Ben. I'm like, "You need to get up." It's like, what's going on? Get up, get your shoes, get the hell up. Come, bring your phone. Brought his phone, and as he was getting closer, he was like, "Holy cow, what is this?" Almost 50 men. Almost 50 men of the Middle East in the middle of the jungle sitting down. Nobody knew how to speak Spanish. Nobody knew how to speak Spanish. Nobody knew how to speak English. Nobody knew that. And I started to ask, a lot of people, what's going on? Can somebody translate? And there were some people that they were like, "Oh yeah, I can translate." Some of them, they knew how to speak English. Some of them they don't. Somebody they didn't know how to speak English. And now, like, this is a national security issue, man. This is a national security issue. I did a video and I said, this is going to the United States. How do you know what these people are? How do you know what these people are going? What is the intentions of these people? And now, now you see, America, what is happening to you inside of the United States. Let me just see right here, comments. There was a comment right here that I wanted to address. Yes, Gloria Fontenot. I believe that that last name is French. I don't believe there will be mass deportation in the first place. We do not have the manpower or the resources. Yeah, but you have the resources to be sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, right? You still have the resources to send billions of dollars to Israel. You still have billions of dollars to send to the border. And you still have the resources to send billions of dollars to federal grants to the NGOs, right? So how do you have the manpower or the resources? If you come into a government and it's a national security issue, why you want to still be funding a war in Ukraine? I'm just saying. Hmm. Uh, thank you. So this is, uh, this is another comment. Your perspective is gold because of your country of birth in Mexico, as you lived in America. Well, Um, the thing about it is that I know what we are expecting. I said this in 2019. Well, it was the debates in 2020, I think so. Debates in 2019, I think so. It was uh, when Donald Trump debated Biden, and then Biden said on the debate, "We need to search the border." Right? He said that multiple times. Search the border. And I told on that video. I remember I was uh, on the pedestrian port of entry of El Chaparral in Tijuana, that is next to San Isidro Boulevard in San Isidro City. And I said, this is going to be the worst crisis of mass migration into the United States. The worst. And it has been the worst. It has been the administration where more migrants have died between the limitations of Mexico and the United States. And it's under Biden. There's a question in Spanish. Let me address this question in Spanish. ¿Qué pasará con los migrantes que esperan aún su cita para asilo? ¿Se quedarán estancados en Tijuana? No solamente en Tijuana, se van a quedar estancados en las partes céntricas del país, en las partes sur. Toda la gente o sea, mucho tiene que ver qué va a pasar con las elecciones este 10 de enero en Venezuela. Veremos qué pasa con la crisis económica también allá. Y si se van a quedar en México, ¿cómo le va a hacer Claudia Sheinbaum para sostener esto, no? Porque ella acaba de decir que quiere recibir a miles y miles que no son de México. Entonces, ¿cómo los va a sostener en México? ¿Les va a dar permisos de trabajo? ¿Qué va a hacer? ¿Va a hacer un programa? O sea, la economía va a sufrir también un trancazo, porque si va a hacer programas sociales, pues necesita sostener eso. Y eso, para eso necesita quién? O sea, las Naciones Unidas. Entonces es un tema de mucha tela que jalar. Go ahead. There's a comment right here. It says, of course, we have to give billions away to Israel. They own America. What they want our military. The Pentagon knows they have to bow down. Uh, there was somebody that gave me a coffee, Javier Lara, 3 coffees. Thank you so much. Give me a coffee. It's right there. Pin in the chat for people that want to donate and contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund. Completely appreciate it. We need to restart our equipment. So thank you so much. What do you guys think? Mexico will take non-Mexican deported migrants. I don't have anything against no. I'm a migrant myself. I think migration is a human right, but in those human rights, you have a law and you have a process, and you need to obey that law and obey that process. So it's the way it is. That's the way it is. You cannot expect. The only ones that they want to break this, and the only ones they have committed treason to humanity, it is the United Nations with their global compact on migration. Just a girl, thank you so much for the coffee. Thank you. God bless you. Why is Mexico expected to take back all of these immigrants? They're globalists. We are under a globalist agenda. We are under a social capitalist president. That basically, uh, she's under the 2030 agenda. She's part of the global compact on migration. She wants to be the climate change, master of the continent. And she wants to put the example that, all these agendas can be implemented in our country. So that's why. Who is going to pay for Mexico to keep these immigrants that they are Mexicans? Who do you think? Lori Markle, the UN. As the UN has infiltrated parts of Panama, as the UN has infiltrated parts in Central America, as the UN has infiltrated the United States of America, as the UN is already preparing to massively infiltrate in Mexico. And you're going to have massive presence in Mexico. It's if you're against the UN and you live in Mexico, it is not going to be a safe country for you to live in. So I am planning strategically to move to another state, possibly. Let's see where I can go. Yes, absolutely. They infiltrated Brazil. Come to the USA. If I get a pardon one day, I will go back. But it's difficult. But you know, let's pray to God. One day will happen. They infiltrated Brazil government also. Yes, they have with Lula. Actually, right now, Brazil is the one that is taking more migrants right now. It is the one that has taken more migrants from Venezuela, from Haiti, uh, from Africa also. The difference is that Lula is actually using the money that is that is being given to him to implement on humanitarian visas and also visas of transit, and also he's actually implementing jobs for the migrants. He says that he needs migrant labor, and that means that lower the cost of salaries, and you can have an inflation, and also you provoke more economy to come in. Right? That's how it works. So just more money to the companies, less money to the lower class. Mi padre fue bracero y amnistía para immigrated legal. Tu padre es un gran hombre. If the Mexican government would have stopped them from coming in, we wouldn't have this problem, but they get money for this as well. If the United States was not under the global compact on migration, did not incentivize this to continue, and did not have their open borders, these mass migration would not arrive to Mexico. What would have been of profit for a migrant to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars all the way from China to come to Mexico if the United States would have been closed? What would be the purpose? They would have stayed in China, right? So if you have an open border in the United States, it's a business, a humanitarian business. But at the end of the day, you want to go where? The number one goal and the number one objective is to go to the United States of America. And if it is open, and if the United States Biden administration is the one that, it's letting you in, well, the hell with it. El Salvador an option for you in the meantime? Yes, absolutely. Yes, we are looking forward to see if we can also go over there. Um, Looking forward to go over there, but I need to see the paperwork and I need to know how we can get over there. I need to know a lot of stuff also. Uh, no more tax money for the NGOs. Hopefully, hopefully, the federal grants that Mike Johnson has been hijacked by globalists. But if Donald Trump comes in, he will change he needs to change his perspective, because Mike Johnson has been the one that has given more money to these NGOs. Just for people to not get their feelings hurt, Mike Johnson has been the one that has given more money to these NGOs. I think it's $1.9 billion that Mike Johnson has given to these NGOs. So it's a lot of money, and it's your American taxpayer money. It's the craziest thing about it is what I have said is that the American taxpayer is the one that is funding their own disaster. Really, it's incredible. That's why the threat of a tariff to all these people, it is so undeniably a perfect strategy. Johnson is very religious. Good for him. Uh, Let me read more comments. This is vicious. It says, and he's talking about securing the border when he's giving all the money away. Well, I don't understand how that happens. I don't understand how that works. Really, I really do not understand how that works. But it's incredible. Let me see. Let me go to the coffees. Uh, Anne Jasinski, thank you so much. God bless you. Javier Lara, thank you so much. Salty C, thank you so much. Um, thank you for the coffees. Questions, people? Go ahead. It is 8:41 West Coast time, January 5th. of the year 2025. We are 6 days away from our birthday. I'm going to turn 44. Man, the years have passed by, man. 44. I started broadcasting when I in English about migration when I was 35, going on 36. Sheesh. Been so many years, man. Many, many years. Miss Michelle Almodovar. How you doing, Miss Michelle? What do you think about the cartel is doing right now? I feel like they will be more aggressive than they already are. The U.S. is going to be interfering with their normal operations. Well, let's see how Donald Trump is going to if he's going to label them as terrorists. And if he's going to label them as terrorists, let's see how that is going to move forward from there. If he's not, if he's going to put national security at the border, push the Mexican president to decrease the level of fentanyl into the United States, threat of a tariff into Mexico, threat of a tariff into China to stop the liquid from coming into Mexico and being processed over here, or to threat China to stop the contamination of fentanyl because you don't have a problem. Let me ask you a question for all of you American citizens, man. Let me tell you how this is how this has been a massive attack and how this has become a massive attack to you guys. So you have a drug that it was created. You create this drug, but you don't distribute this drug in your country. You distribute this drug where your enemy is at. And the enemy for China, in terms to this, it is the United States. The number one country for addiction of fentanyl, it is the United States. The number one country in addiction to crystal meth, it is the United States. The number one country in addiction for cocaine is the United States. Who is getting attacked? And I have said this multiple times. The progressive liberals do not want to accept the fact that the actual genocide, it is occurring inside of the United States of America, where more than 107,000 Americans dying per year of fentanyl use. That is the actual genocide that is being provoked. That is being provoked by countries outside, that they are hurting it by within. And not only that, I have said this multiple times, where fentanyl gets trafficked the most, it is in the vehicle ports of entry to the United States. And 87% of the people that they get detained, trafficking tons and tons of fentanyl with vehicles, it is U.S. citizens. So what makes you think that that is not an actual attack on the United States of America? You got to be kidding me with this, man. Somebody's saying it's being made over here in the U.S. Yeah, I understand. But where do you get the formula? Where do you got it? It's like, let me just tell you, right? You create a cinnamon roll in France. And you're like, oh, wow, it's a good cinnamon roll. Where it's coming from? From France. Oh, how does it made? It's made like this. Oh, let me see if I can get and I'll make it over here. It's exactly, it's pure, it's common sense. It's so common sense. The cartels are the foot soldiers for the global elite. Um, well, it is if you're talking about soldiers of destruction and terrorists, yes. If you're talking about that, yes. More questions, people. If you guys want to ask something more, we've been at war for 4 years plus. They're dumbing us down, murdering Americans. You've been at war for quite some time. Miss Justin Aker, how you doing? God bless you, dear heart. The number one country for addiction to sex trafficking in the United States, child trafficking. It is the number one country that right now you wouldn't trust an unaccompanied minor. Why? Because you got more than 350,000 children that they're lost. Who are you gonna trust right now to? Are you gonna trust an NGO right now to release an unaccompanied minor in the United States? I'm not. I'm not trusting the hell with nobody right now. What happened in the United States? Got infiltrated by traitors by within, and it's just that's the only way that it can actually hijack the freedom and the politics inside of the country. I don't like to get to interior politics, but I'm gonna read this. K Grace says, "I heard 500,000 children." No, well, it's a lot of numbers, right? K Grace says, "I don't think Trump is backing Johnson. There had to be a Speaker of the House by January 6th for the new year. 144 Congress to be back in session, and Harris to clarify the vote for President." Too much. I don't like to get into interior politics that much, man. There's other people that they're more experienced on talking about that kind of stuff, and it's too dirty, too dirty. That's why a lot of people say, "Why you don't ever run for politics?" And me, God, the hell with that. Prefer to be, a normal individual. Uh, Trump says he thinks most of the children are dead. Uh, you know what? Let me just touch on a conspiracy. It's should I? No, I don't think so. Before I leave, let me just touch on a conspiracy. Man, this should I or wouldn't I? Because there's so many conspiracies, right? Was taken over by demonic Biggins. Excellent response. Man, you know, a lot of people are saying adrenochrome and all this kind of stuff, right? I don't follow that kind of stuff, but let me just say it like this, because I don't like to be a guy that does this, and say things that are, mislead or mis uh, distortion. Somebody said most conspiracies have been proven right. Well, I got to say, this is what I. So there's this formula to be young and to always be young and to continue to be young and to never be old. And there's a dark force that has found this formula. I talk about it with my friends and good friends. My friends, my circle is really small. It's extremely small. Um, you know, it's extremely small, my circle. And the number of people that I trust are not even with one hand. But when I talk to them about it, we're not too far away from believing on that. So thank you for the correct English, Rose. I know what you are alluding, great word. And I forgot about that word. Yes. So I'm alluding, Rose, to I don't want to potentially say what you guys know where I'm going. So there's this new liquid, new formula to be young and to continue to be young. And everybody doesn't know how this formula has been found and how this became a possibility. So I will leave it at that. And if you go deep, 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 deep into the rabbit hole, it is so demonic. Extremely demonic. You know, you go to the symbolism, and everything that you have seen out there. It's just all connected. So, you know, you're going to see, I believe that's it. I'm not going to say more. I have something. Where is it at? Where did I put it? It's not here. It's not here. Before I go, um, where is it? Let me just search for it right here. You guys there? Yeah, there we go. So let me just go right here to this last thing that I would like to put on the screen. Right here. God bless you all. Stop spamming, please. Somebody spamming. Okay, let's block this if people they're spamming. Okay. Right here. So let's read this verse. And let's read this verse, and let's just from this I will end the live feed. For all Romans 3:25. For all that have sinned and fall short of the glory of God and are justified by his grace as a gift through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God put forward as appropriation by his blood to be received by faith. Then it says, God presented Christ as a sacrifice of atonement through the shedding of his blood to be received by faith. He did this to demonstrate his righteousness because of his forbearance. He had left the sins committed beforehand unpunished. The only ultimate sacrifice for humanity is this. Other than that, everything it is evil. Just for people to understand where I was going for it. The only ultimate sacrifice for humanity was this. Everything else, it is not a sacrifice towards God. God bless you all. Thank you so much. You know, there's always Satan coming in. So there is no reliable secular historical evidence that Jesus ever existed. You're breathing right now, right? You're thinking of him, right? It's coming out of your mouth, right? You're actually studying him, right? You're actually thinking that he did not exist. So in your mind, something existed, right? You actually see him in pictures and you say, there's no secular evidence, right? But you actually think of him, right? So it in your mind, you're thinking that he doesn't exist, but it in your mouth, you're saying that he doesn't exist and there's a possibility that he could exist. Oh, God is such a magnificent. Jesus, you are such a magnificent. You are more than, you're the most incredible man that ever walked this planet. God bless you, Satan. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Boys News. We are going to call it a night. An hour and 11 minutes we have been going on. So we are going to be, how about this poncho, man? These ponchos are so warm. You know, so they're so warm. About to release my poncho. What do you guys, who would be interested? I'm buying a poncho that it says Oscar Blue on the little tag right here on the side. Press 1 if you will be interested in buying a poncho from a real Mexican. It'll be what's going on with the mic right there. Who'll be interested, man? We got a bunch of ones. We got a bunch of ones, man. Everybody's everybody. Oh, thank you so much. Somebody bought me a coffee. Anonymous. Be blessed, Oscar. Reply to be blessed. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anonymous bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. We got a bunch of ones. Everybody will buy a poncho, man. One, but custom design or yeah, but it's going to be custom design. It's not going to be just like this. It's not going to have this design. So I'm going to make my own kind of stuff. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a good night. And like we always say, God's plan, it is our mission.